If you're not sure of how to begin your renovation, go to HomeTrust. HomeTrust is Singapore's leading renovation platform that matches homeowners with trusted interior designers. On the main page, simply click the Get Recommendations feature and answer a few simple questions to get matched with reputable IDs. From there, you can check out their portfolios and take a look at their reviews. Did you know that HomeTrust do not delete negative reviews? This is where HomeTrust stands out, by providing the promise of trust and transparency to homeowners like ourselves. If you want to know more, make sure you visit their website at hometrust.sg.
Hi everyone, we are back with a new video today. I hope that you have enjoyed our previous video so far where we show you other parts of the house, because today is our last and final home tour series and I will be showing you both our bedrooms. So where I am standing right now is the master bedroom, and the first thing you will notice is the color. For the other parts of the house, you can go and check out our previous videos. You'll notice that it looks a bit more formal, a bit more masculine, and that was because we used a cooler tone. Whereas for this particular room, we chose a warmer color for the entire room. That's why it looks a bit lighter and a bit more feminine. In terms of the color, right, it closely resembles the very trendy cream color, and in Chinese we call that the 奶油风. And especially with the day curtains that you see behind me, it really adds to the effect. And I'll go into more detail later in the video. Now at one glance, it appears to be a very simple room. Just a wardrobe and two tables, correct? But in reality, there's a lot more to it. I remember during planning, a lot of precision is involved. So let me show you a few examples. Can you see the track lights on the ceiling? And let me try to open the door. Can you see how close it is to collision? Back then, I wanted to create this nice triangle on the opening line of each door, such that on the outside, it serves as an ambient lighting, and at the same time, whenever you open the door, it also doubles up as a wardrobe light for you to see your clothes. So you can imagine trying to buy the wardrobe with the right dimensions, and also calculating the distance between the light and the wardrobe. Additionally, the lights cannot be too close to the ceiling fan, otherwise it will create a lot of harsh flickering shadows on the floor that becomes very distracting. So again, when choosing the ceiling fan, dimension also matter. We measure and measure, we draw circle, draw triangle, do Pythagoras theorem, and so on. Now this set of table and chair is for Lady Boss, and the inner one is for myself. As you can see, the ceiling fan is positioned directly above her, and that was intentional. Whenever she comes out of the shower, she will be sitting over here to use her computer or scroll her phone until bedtime. Previously in her parents' place, she must use a hairdryer, otherwise the hair cannot dry in time. So with a ceiling fan on top of her, she can sit here for another 2 hours and it helps a lot in the drying process. Another consideration is because Lady Boss melts in the heat and I don't do very well in the cold. So welcome to our marriage, where finding the right temperature difference in the same room is a delicate balance. For myself, sitting a distance away while receiving the collateral wind is already perfect for me. And you can also see that our aircon that we rarely use is closer to Lady Boss than myself. By the way, this ceiling fan was from Taobao. My niece came over and said it looks like a surfboard. I remember having a very difficult time with the installation, but after that, everything turns out very nicely. Also, it doesn't mean that the lesser number of fan blades you have will result in lower power. The wind that this thing can generate is already very sufficient for our needs, and I don't remember having to turn it on to the max power. Price-wise, we paid slightly less than $200 and we are very happy with it so far. This full-length wall-to-wall wardrobe was from Taobao. You can check out our previous video on how I spent a few days DIY installing it. The color also matches our room color. Now here's something I want to talk about, which is the vanity mirror. Previously, when Lady Boss does her makeup, she uses a very small handheld mirror and checks herself out like this. She also does it on the study table where she stores all her skincare, makeup, lipstick all over the table, and it looks very cluttered. When I see already, I also cannot take it. Now in this new house, every day after shower, she will roll her chair over here to this wardrobe. Let me show you. She'll open the wardrobe door and pull out this round mirror. Then she'll position her phone nicely over here in this corner and play her favorite YouTube videos. Then where did she keep all her skincare? It is all here. You know, whenever the ladies do their skincare routine, they have their step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all the way until step 7. Not like us men, just wash the face can ready. So I catered one whole entire drawer to store all the SK2, lipstick, eyelash, and so on. And I also try to get the drawer height right so that the chair armrest can fit in nicely. Previously, I also considered the front-facing vanity design, where the mirror is facing this way, but I realized that it will consume too much storage space. So this one is still much better because at least you can still hang your clothes. Very proud of this one because she uses it every day. As compared to the previous situation, this is a huge upgrade. Inside the wardrobe, we have a space-saving ironing board that we use every weekend. Let me show you how it works. And let me put it back. As you can see, there's even soft closing. The only downside is you cannot put long dresses over here in the center compartment, but that is still okay because there will always be shorter clothing. This has been very functional. Additionally, since this is a DIY installation and not a custom carpentry, some of you have also asked me how come there are two sockets over here. Initially, there was already a wall socket behind the wardrobe. I drilled a hole through the wardrobe for the wires and tapped the power out to add two more sockets over here. Reason why I didn't want to show that was because I didn't want to encourage DIY electrical works. Better to look for a qualified electrician if you don't know what you are doing, otherwise it can be dangerous. So this is how the entire wardrobe looks like, and at the right corner, we have catered a small slot to charge our handheld vacuum. Can you see the sockets behind? If you think about it, we spend the most time over here in this room than anywhere else, and there's usually a lot of hair, so this is the most convenient position. Because we are using this room as the study, we did day curtains instead of blackout curtains. I think the amount of visibility is just right because it allows light to pass through, but at the same time you can't see the shade from behind. This is also the Motorized S4 curtains or ripple fold curtain design just like in the living room. But we mounted it on the ledge here instead of the ceiling because we really needed the space. Let me show you. Can you see that our tables are already touching the curtains? And if you look at the right side, by positioning the tables this way, there's absolutely no more clearance, any space at all. So let me open up the curtain to show you. So the curtain will slowly open, and then it touches the tables, it creases a bit, and after a while, it will just nice slide open. And that is why we have to mount the curtains on the ledge instead of the ceiling. These two tables are from Carousel, by the way. I found them during an office relocation and paid $40 each. Even though they are second-hand, the condition is still excellent. It comes with all the height adjustment and up-down memory functions, so sometimes, if you are willing to consider Carousel, you can actually score yourself some amazing deals. Now before I move on, I want to explain why we sort the master and the common rooms. For most homeowners, this room is used for sleeping, but for us, we turn it into a study room, which is not commonly seen. Let me explain why. The first reason is to build this full wall-to-wall wardrobe. I find that storage is very important, especially for smaller houses like ours, so there will not be any more space to walk if we put a wardrobe and a bed in the same room. Second reason is whenever Lady Boss wakes up in the morning, she can blow dry her hair in this room and get her clothes and accessories without disturbing me. Additionally, I always think it is a good idea to separate the bed and the study so that we are more productive. For those of you who have a bed beside your study table, don't you find it very tempting to lie down on the bed halfway while working? And Lady Boss also bans me from touching the bed other than for sleeping. So only after shower then can touch the bed. Lastly, in the entire house, this is the room where we spend the most time in, which is in front of our computers. So naturally, it made a lot of sense for us to cater more space over here as compared to the other room where the main purpose is just to sleep. And with that, let's go to the real bedroom. Now this is the first look at our bedroom. I remember one of the first things that we did during key collection was to measure the door opening curve. Let me show you. So if I were to close the door, can you see how close it is to hitting our bed? Now in order to make this design work out, we have to get a queen size bed and especially one without a headboard. Otherwise, the dimensions will not work out. Actually, the room can still fit a king size bed where it extends over this side. But the downside is that we will have to forego this bedside table and there will be lesser walking space on my side. Additionally, the room will also lose its symmetry. As for the mattress, we bought ours from Origins. No complaints at all, and we will do a mattress review in future. Lately, platform beds have become quite popular, but I'm not really a fan of platform beds because it creates a lot of inaccessible storage. Imagine having to lift up a heavy mattress just to access your storage and then shifting it back afterwards. You just end up not using it. Additionally, you have to manually clean the platform all the time because your robot vacuum cannot climb up. But who knows, maybe one day we will really see one that is capable enough to climb stairs. So if you really need storage, I find that the good old storage bed is still the best. No need to spend on unnecessary carpentry, and you can still move it around if you change your mind. This model behind me is a bit of a hybrid. Let me show you. Here's how it looks like. Apart from the central storage area, we still have 3 drawers beside. If I bend down, it looks like this. Additionally, we also suspend it from the floor so that the robo vacuum can go through for cleaning. There's also a ring of motion sensor LED strip underneath that is useful at night. What we have here as the bedhead design is a fluted panel and wall panel combination. Whenever we have visitors, some also thought that these were cabinets, but actually, it is just an illusion to make the room appear bigger. Originally, this area is a recess. Unlike the living room one, it is actually deep enough to create functional storage. So we partitioned the bottom half and bought a custom Taobao cabinet to fit in the top half. Inside, I also catered a socket to put a hairdryer, and also when the time comes, it can house a projector that can cast on the opposite wall so that we can watch movies while on the bed. For the Limewash Paint here in this room, you can see that the brushstrokes are more aggressive than what we have in the living room. So you can check out our previous living room tour and you'll be able to tell the difference. For those of you who are doing this yourself, you can try to experiment a little bit and see which one you prefer. Similar to what we have in the living room, we installed this fake false ceiling for the cove lights. The LED driver is again hidden behind our curtain. And again, the curtains were the exact same S4 curtains as in the living room, also mounted to the ceiling to make the room taller. All 3 sets that I purchased from the 2 bedrooms and the living room were from the same Taobao seller. This wall art that you see here is the exact same one as our living room. Originally, there's not supposed to be anything here. It was because our Taobao seller sent us a dirty piece previously. Can you see the stains over here? After I informed them, they were nice enough to take responsibility and send me another new one. At the same time, I also didn't want to throw this away, so it ended up here on this wall. Maybe we will do another print and just paste over the original one in future. If you look above, we have a fan from Haiku. For those of you who know, this is the Rolls Royce of all ceiling fans, which comes with an incredible price tag. For a brand new one, it costs around $2,000. However, cheapo like myself purchased this for $150 on Carousel, and I tell you, the story was very epic. The seller was a homeowner moving out of a condo. When I arrived to collect the fan, she passed it to me in one piece just like that. So I asked her if she has an Allen key that I can borrow to dismantle the fan blades for easier transport, but she doesn't even know what is an Allen key. So at the time, I was stuck, because it cannot even go up a Grab car. And in the end, right, I have to carry this up the MRT, and I tell you, everyone was staring at me. When I got out, I carried this on my shoulder like a giant weapon. Imagine you see one guy crossing the traffic light like this. Unfortunately, I didn't have any video footage. Otherwise, this is one of those footages that I want to look back to and remember for many years down the road. But it is not the first time. You can check out my previous video on how I carry the acrylic panels up the MRT without private transport. And here's an extra reason as to why we turned the common room into a sleeping room. For Lady Boss, sleeping in an aircon room is a non-negotiable necessity. So for those of you in the same situation, turning on aircon at night is likely the biggest contributor to your electricity bills. So if you choose to sleep in a smaller room, the aircon will not need to work as hard to cool it down as compared to bigger rooms, and that will help you save a bit of money every day. Additionally, I want to talk about aircon positioning. One important point is to never point it directly at the bed. If you do that, you'll realize that your mouth becomes very dry and uncomfortable. For us, it is pointed right beside the bed. And for those of you who are unsure, very often the best position is above the door. As usual, I like to talk about lighting. For this room, we intentionally dim down the lights. For a sleeping room, you really don't need it to be very bright. The color temperature matters as well. Always go for a lower temperature in the bedroom so that it creates a more relaxing environment. For us, we use 3000 Kelvin. In fact, let me show you what happens when a temperature is too high. Now, what you're seeing is 6000 Kelvin. Would you want to sleep in this room? It looks like a factory warehouse instead, right? Now we're back at this room and let's do a quick lighting tutorial. So this is what you typically see in the older HDB houses, just one big white color light at the center, and that is all. So let me change it up to show you what is the difference. Isn't this a lot nicer? Now we have some ambient lighting in the ceiling fan, some track lights, some curtain pelmet lights. We also have a layer of accent lighting behind the table. So what you'll notice is that whenever we have good lighting in the house, everything inside the house will also look a lot nicer, and that includes the human being as well. So if aesthetics is something that you value, I suggest that you go and talk to your ID about lighting. Now, unfortunately, lighting knowledge is not something that most of us homeowners will naturally have, so in the future, I will also do a dedicated lighting video. With that being said, this is the last part of our home tour series. It has been an incredible renovation journey for Lady Boss and myself. This house is something that we genuinely enjoy coming back to every day after work, and I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we do. Now that you have seen the entire house, maybe you can let me know in the comment section below which room is your favorite. For myself, it is the kitchen. As for what's next, we still have a bunch of content coming up, like cost breakdown, renovation regrets, appliance reviews, and so on. So stay tuned and we shall see you in the next video. Bye!